It is time for our very first conversation, and that's an opportunity to look at parenting styles in 2025. Now, parenting across Africa is truly evolving. A delicate dance between tradition and modernity is taking place, where the wisdom of it takes a village meets the challenges of the digital parenting lifestyle, right? It meets challenges of urbanization and the realities of influence from the Western world. Now, from community centered upbringing to the rise of more child centered, dialogue driven approaches, African families are reimagining how to raise the next generation while holding on dearly and deeply to roots that really brought about values in the ecosystem that was a family, a homestead, if you will. Now, joining us to unpack these shifting styles is Joshua Oludare Olusan, a publisher, author, media professional, human rights activist, and the founder of African Portal. With a deep commitment to preserving African culture and history, Joshua brings a unique lens on how parenting reflects not only family life, but also the wider African identity in today's world. Mr. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to African Diaries.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Let's just start off with looking at the context of very many households in the African continent who still hold on to that proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. In your view, how communal is parenting in this present day and age, firstly? And secondly, is the practice something that parents are wanting to hold on to? Because I want to say a blanketed view is that this is the principle of the African, is that we raise children as a community. But you think of urbanization, you think of digitization, you think of all these kinds of technologies and interconnectivities that make us want to bond less. Is this still the way of the African?
Thank you very much. It's a very beautiful topic, and I think it's overdue for us to be talking about things like this, especially in this current time where the AI is taking over and also the technology and all that. But when it comes to this so-called, it takes a village to raise a child. This is no longer in the disposal, because you will realize that most of the child born in the central or in the city, everybody is living in their own compound with the high fence. I mean, they differentiate them from the neighbors. Sometimes they don't even see each other. They drive them in the morning to school. It's just dad and mom, and nobody is checking what you are doing in your house or what is happening in the next door. Everybody is just minding their business. So that is no longer in disposal in some part of Africa. But when we are looking at the talking about the people that grow up in the village, I think some villages in Nigeria, in America, I mean, in Nigeria, in some of the part of the Africa. I was in Rwanda, Kigali, a few weeks ago. We still see all that in some of the part of Africa. Even though if you go to the central, like being in the Kigali or Lagos or in other cities, you may not. But if you go to the village, we still have the tune, even though it's not high, but we still have some of it. So talking about it, if you look at the ratio, it's very low now in Africa. Everybody's mind their business. Daddy is going to work in the morning. Everybody is going to school, coming back from school, stay indoor, play on your phone, focusing on your laptop. These are the things that is taking our attention away. And the community is not having access to the children. The children doesn't have access to the community. And it's affecting us a lot.
Let's talk about those effects. And I'm asking this, of course it does affect us, but I want to paint a picture so that one who's listening may have a vivid view of how the segmentation, how everybody's in their own compound affects us culturally, traditionally, but also just in terms and in the context of being an African in identity.
I'll say it again. I think your line is maybe it's from my side.
Oh, goodness. Not to worry, Mr. Joshua. If you've just joined us, welcome to it. Thank you so much for choosing us over the rest. There, the voice of Joshua Oludare Olusan, who is a publisher, an author, media professional, a human rights activist, and the founder of African Portal. And the idea and the context is really to just suss out parenting styles and disciplines and techniques in 2025. Mr. Joshua, I was asking about the effects of the segregation. You said just toward the end of your statement that it affects us greatly when we keep to ourselves, when we raise our children with their phone in hand, in front of face, where mom and dad go to work and the community doesn't have access to the children. Let's talk about those effects on a cultural, a traditional, and an identity context.
All right. One of the things that we first need to bring back into space is the identity, because I think that is fading out. Many of the current generation lose their identity. Some of them doesn't want to be identified with their originality, their background, who they are. Some of them want to be like other people. They want to listen to other people's music. They want to dress like other, people in other part of the world. But identity, I think, is one of the things that we need to firstly put in the mind of our kids when they are growing up. Let them know who they are. Let them know the child of who they are, and also let them understand the environment, the space where they are coming from. So, to me, I think it's very important for us to firstly let our identity, be in the mind of our children. As they are growing up. And secondly, one of the things I want us to pay more attention to is their originality. Their originality, like be yourself, believe in yourself, and believe in your community, in your society. The damage of all these things, as you ask, is that many of our children today, they are confused, and easily any culture can take them away because they don't really know who they are. They don't know if they're Africa. Sometimes when you speak to some people in South Africa, they will say, no, we are South Africa, we are not Africa. So all this kind of a thing is the confusion that we are having in the community, in our society, that is making many people not to believe in their culture. But the damage of it is this: the child will grow up not having a good moral. Some of them grow up without having the courtesy, so they don't have the idea of how to greet in the family, in their own cultural way. They don't have idea of how to speak in the public in their own cultural way, because the parent doesn't have time to impart that in them. Dad is busy going to work, 8 to 5 or 6 o'clock. Mommy is busy working. It's only the house girl that is attending to them, or maybe they're just in the front of the laptop, in front of their phone, sitting in the front of the TV. They don't have time to study. They don't have time to know who they are, and the parents is not there as well to guide them. To let them understand their originality. So one of the things that I want us to understand here is that the damage is very severe, because it will affect our community. It will affect our society. We will raise the kids that have no idea of what is going on in their environment or in their community.
And when we look at discipline, this is a heavy topic, Mr. Joshua. Discipline is one that continues to come up when we're talking parenting. Traditionally, the African parent would lean towards an authoritarian kind of stature before the child, right? You do as I say, I'm your parent, I know best. But now we're seeing, a more gentle approach. Let's sit down. Let's talk. What do you think? How do you feel? And this isn't the same as contexts before. Do you think that this is a healthy shift for both parent and child?
Anyway, let's look at it with the current generation and with the current development happening in our, around us. Look at the technology and all that. Yes, the corporal punishments, the way our parents raised us, especially from the 80s, 90s, you will realize that he's also have his own side effects. So I'm not against the punishment. The punishment is good even in the Bible. The Bible also recommends that you punish your child, you correct your child in a way and manner that will make the child to understand that, okay, I'm correcting you because of one, two, three. But looking at this current generation, I think we dropped the ball when we are supposed to respond harshly. We actually respond in a very soft manner, and the seems to look at it like, no, my dad is not really serious about it, so they don't take it that serious compared to the previous generation. We are not saying that the previous generation doing the best. I mean, don't misquote me, but I think the best thing is to correct your child in a proper way. Not there are a lot of abuse as well that happened in the past by correcting the children, maybe beating them, slapping them, and flogging them, and all that. Some of the parents when I experience when the parents is hungry, removing the female child here just to embarrass her. I mean, those are the things that I think is too harsh. But looking at this time as well, I think we need to balance the two. I mean, not too harsh, not too quiet. Some of the parents today, we quiet where we are not supposed to quiet. We just overlook some certain things that we are not supposed to overlook. Some of them doesn't want to hurt our children. I just don't want to get him angry. Let's just leave him. When it's time for him to know, he will know. No, it's not like that. When it's time to correct them in the right way, not in an abusive way, not in a way that we take their confidence away, not in a way that we take their boldness away. But we must be able to correct them with love. And don't come down to a level whereby you make the child feel like he or she is more important than you. You are the parent. You should be able to tell them, this is not right. This is not correct. This is how to do it. So I think we need to look at it and learn from the past, correct the mistake of the past, and come up with an idea that will help the current generation, because we cannot do it the same way we do it in the past. The world is changing, but at the same time, we need to correct our child. We need to punish them when it's necessary.
Mr. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us this evening, for giving us a piece of your time. We absolutely appreciate it. And indeed, we need to come together and forge a new way forward. It is 11 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, that was the voice of publisher, author, media professional, human rights activist, and the founder of the African Portal, Joshua Oludare Olusan, joining us this evening.